Hello, future viewers, welcome back.
Urgent measures are required to limit damage sustained during Navy counterattacks. Failure to disrupt the enemy's communication system has resulted in the dissemination of hostile information throughout the Navy command structure. However, further League activity will be maintained. A severely damaged League cruiser is currently attempting to reach a League battle platform within the Selene Zone. Resources are now scarce. It is essential that this craft is protected as it attempts its docking procedure. Locate and defend this cruiser. Engage all hostile craft and ensure completion of full docking program.
Well, we messed up in messing up enemy communications. The Navy is fighting back and things are going to get ugly. In fact, they're already getting ugly. We'll see what kind of frantic repairs and salvaging of the situation we can do today. At least we don't start in a little vampire thing.
Right, guys, let's keep our eyes open. Those Navy scum could be here at any minute.
This mission could be extremely difficult or actually fairly easy depending on whether you know a certain thing. The main problem is that we have to defend this cruiser from fighters, and as I already discussed, fighters that are attacking one of your capital ships are actually pretty difficult to deal with.
We're in for a bit of a fight. Let's get them.
This frigate will
Remember, pilot?
launch
This
two
is a professional
Stormlords,
That
making one Tornado and two Stormlords on the field, and the frigate will replace them if any of them gets destroyed. Now this could very easily lead to a situation where you destroy the bombers and then they immediately come back and you have to frantically try to shoot them before they can do much damage on their approach to your ship. Or you can do what I'm doing here. You see, there's this thing about AI behavior in this game. If a ship has a target that's not you, and you damage their shields and start to deal maybe a bit of hull damage to them, you will become their target and they will never switch back to the mission objective that you're trying to defend.
That's the last you'll see of this war.
Now, as we've already established, enemy fighters that are trying to attack you are not all that effective. So it's actually much easier to just weaken enemy fighters and then have them chase you for the rest of the mission than try to constantly destroy reinforcements that are heading for the thing that you're trying to protect. The one complication on this mission is that we have an allied fighter that does not know any of this and is trying to ruin our day. The good news is that this allied Hydra is not very good at shooting down enemy fighters. So we're still unmolested, and in fact, I believe he's going to get himself shot down in a little bit. He does manage to get a tornado or two, but that's the least of our problems. Well, I'm kind of curious about whether this little trick was intended by the developers. Maybe if they had a little bit more time to program things, they could... Oh, well, there goes the Hydra. Maybe if they had a little more time, they could program fighters to maybe ignore you forever for certain missions, or switch back to their original mission after you run away from them for a little bit. Well, I guess we have a little bit of spare time on our hands, since the cruiser has managed to put some distance between itself and the other stuff, and now that the enemy is obsessed with me instead of the thing I'm trying to protect, it's actually not that difficult. By the way, if you fail this mission, that you then go into a different mission than you would if we succeeded here, but the overall plot arc stays the same unless we fail more. There's actually a ton of missions and contingencies for mission failures in this game. I suspect that anyone who isn't going full completion could play this game several times and still not find all the missions. It's actually pretty interesting how hard they worked to make sure that there were lots of ways that the war could go. I respect that a lot. Now that cruiser is taking its time. I guess I'll take this time to talk about other things that I would like to do. I've actually been thinking about where I'm going to take this channel. Well, it's going to be gaming forever, as far as I can tell. I have no plan of changing that, but as far as what I intend to play and why, I don't know. There are certain games that I would like to play because I think they're fun and would enjoy playing them, but I don't know if they work very well for YouTube, that's the thing. In particular, there's a couple of off-brand monster hunting games that I'd like to show off. Tokiden 2 especially, although maybe God Eater 3 as well, but mostly Tokiden 2. Of course, it is a grindy game. I would have no intentions of showing off every monster hunt because you know how monster hunting is. On occasions, you hunt the same thing several times in a row just to get gear, and I would not put anyone through that. So I guess what I try to do is show one hunt per monster and all of the plot stuff, which, yes, I know monster hunting games are not well known for the plot, but Tokiden 2 especially is actually uncharacteristically good for the genre, is what I'll say. I hesitate to say it's actually an amazing plot because everyone's
This is Command. Cruiser now docked. Mission complete.
Opinion of that is going to be different. I also like the little touch that the cruiser doesn't actually go into the battle platform. Those docks are for smaller things like APCs and fighters. No, the cruiser has to stay outside. That's pretty cool. I guess we can assume that once it's docked and under the full protection of the battle platform, the enemy gives up. Now, I'm not going to have too many fighter kills in this particular
Further summaries
session.
of Navy aggression are currently being received. Medical excursions have been undertaken, and survivors rescued where possible. Distress requests are being submitted through a low-capacity receiver. The presence of undetected signals is possible. Medical craft on urgent missions throughout Draco are encountering offensive activities due to pockets of Navy craft. Particular difficulty is reported by Medi-XG-5, residing in the EOS zone. The presence of a large asteroid field has halted its progress. Enemy craft are believed to be approaching. Locate the Medicraft and render a path through the asteroid field by destroying all obstructions. Also provide effective cover in the case of attack.
These next couple missions cover something that's not always covered in these space combat games. The missions themselves are fairly unremarkable. However, this game has escape pods, and in fact it makes note of when you get shot down, your escape pod succeeds, and that's why you're able to attend the next mission, one would assume. But these missions are about the craft that go to battlefields and retrieve the escape pods, and some of the troubles they run into. And that's That's almost always completely left in the background in these
Enemy
games.
fighters detected.
And it's not something we would see if we didn't go down this mission path.
We can't let those fighters get us. We're starting through the field now. Cover us and keep that route clear.
Oh, not a problem. There's only one respawning tornado here, so once we get it on our tail instead of the Medicraft, that's pretty much it for the mission. All we have to do is go forward and break up some asteroids, and that's it. So details like that are another reason why, if you're playing this game, it's well worth your time to go for paths other than the winning all the time path. A lot of neat stuff in there. Asteriod has been destroyed. This is why games need editors for their text. And I'm not just saying that because I studied editing in college. Well, that wasn't my career, but it was something that I found fairly interesting. And, well, that's it. So, covering the ships that retrieve escape pods is the sort of thing that I wish we saw more in these games. Adds a little bit of flavor to see all the logistics of that sort of thing, you know? Actually, I don't think it would be completely out of line to have a game mostly based around one of these ships and the sort of things it has to go through. I think that could be interesting. Oh, I lost 2 lines of shields. Let's see if that tornado manages to hit me again throughout this mission. Don't know about his chances though. The one ship that might not be safe to do this with is the Thunderchild, because it'll sometimes fire missiles at you. So you gotta be careful with those. Just casually flying around. So, how was your day? I feel a little weird asking that. Usually it's something I just do on stream, but I don't know, it feels like one of those times in the gameplay.
This is Medi XG5. We are through the field. Thanks for your support.
And that is
Good luck with your next mission.
using the grappler to pull in its first escape
Commencing
pod.
jump sequence.
We're gonna see a little bit more of that later. Because that's kind of cleaning up the mess that's our fault for our failure last session. Oh well. Those Comscraft are way too heavily armed.
League medical capabilities are proving resilient to prolonged attack, but emergency reports indicate that resources are now scarce. In the absence of heavy auto-defense rescue vessels, lightweight medical craft are being dispatched to regions still considered highly dangerous. We currently have Medi XG-17 in the Janus Zone, scanning for escape pods and survivors. An earlier confrontation resulted in the decimation of a valuable League unit. The Medicraft has been instructed to tractor in all detectable pods. However, it remains extremely vulnerable. Accompany this craft and provide full defense capabilities. Be aware that the enemy now believes a League withdrawal from Draco is imminent.
Well, 3 things. First of all, whether that withdrawal is imminent is dependent on the final mission we're going to cover today. Also, I feel bad for those medic ships that aren't defended by us personally because we're the best. And finally, they're really kind of driving home that things are looking not great right now.
Welcome to the fray, pilot. Our mission is proceeding as planned. It'll take a short while before we've fractured the remaining pods. Keep us covered.
Enemy fighters detected.
Fortunately, they don't come in from the direction of that star there. Also, that we have another gung-ho pilot on our side, and this time it is a legitimate problem. We've got 2 respawning tornadoes instead of 1 this time, and more importantly, our trick is less effective than it used to be. And that's because this fighter pilot on our side is actually good at shooting down tornadoes, even though we don't really want them to be shot down.
That's the last you'll see of this boy.
Yeah, you sure did a good job there. I also found out that having allied craft shoot enemy ships does not necessarily change their targeting. Only the player does that. So that makes it even more complicated with possible problems. There is one thing in our favor, though, which is they don't respawn until both of them are destroyed. So if I disable them with the trick I've been using the last couple of missions, they won't respawn immediately once one is destroyed. We have that little bit of mercy, at least. And the thing is that fighter accompanying us will not be nearly as effective against those tornadoes if they're attacking our medic ship, because, once again, their evasive patterns when doing that sort of thing are much better. So it's pretty much only there to ruin our fun. Thanks, game. Oh well. I guess it would be boring if this was all too easy, huh? On the other hand, this is gonna be like the day that makes that other guy's career. He's like, I shot down so many fighters today. Aren't I the best? I should get a promotion for this. And he probably will get a promotion for this.
How many of them are there?
Oh well. You and I know the truth. Oh, and speaking of things to learn, I briefly hit that medic ship with an anti-shield laser. Fortunately, the game is forgiving of single hits, but once you go past that, things can get pretty messy. The game will give you a stern, you are targeting friendly craft, and then if you keep doing that, you're going to be killed because your craft might be a Navy infiltrator or something, and then you self-destruct. Strangely enough, that does not end your campaign, even though you should probably be executed after doing something like that. You just go to the next mission. One would be interesting if there was some in-game reason for that. Oh well. I do my best. If only I could tell my crazy scheme to that Dark Angel pilot, he'd say, are you a Navy collaborator letting the enemy live like that? Or something, most likely. So maybe it's a good thing that I can't tell him what I'm trying to do. And now it turns out that not a whole lot of hull damage is necessary. Just the hit from the anti-shield missile changed its targeting. Might be good to know for the future. And if I had time to look at what the medic ship was doing, we could see it pulling in escape pods for the entire time, which is kind of neat. It took me a while to get used to the controls of this thing again.
The SR-23, we have tracked all detected escape pods. We are vacating the area.
It's not as difficult as learning the controls of,
Sequence initiated.
say, Armored Core, That's something else altogether. But there are a lot of functions to keep track of. Yep. That other pilot is probably gonna be an ace now. Oh well.
The two sons of the Draco system were playing havoc with League fleet metabolisms. Light to dark, then to light again. Our body clocks were beating double time. I heard that pilots flying by Helios were sending messages of friendship to all their comrades before battle. Those in the Hecate zone were backbiting and recriminating before they'd even hit launch. Maybe the rumors were true. Maybe those suns were more than just gas and vapor. Whatever, the tension was real. Pulling in two directions. No one knew where we were heading.
I like that cutscene a lot. I can't really describe why, I just think it's
We
neat.
have a serious engagement in the Harmonia zone, approaching Helios. Solar interference is disrupting scans and digital broadcasts are defective. However, encrypted data indicates the presence of a Navy destroyer threatening a League destroyer. Loss of significant hardware at this stage could result in the reversal of League ambitions. It is essential that the Navy craft is destroyed before the League ship is terminated. Maximum protection is necessary. Converge on the threatened craft and provide full cover. Protect the League facility and engage all hostile units. The enemy destroyer must be terminated. This battle may well dictate the fate of the Draco system.
They're not kidding. If we lose here, we go onto the losing path, which is the exact same star system that we were headed by winning a few sessions ago. Winning here will take us back onto the winning path and closer to the final objective there. So yeah, this is a pretty important one.
This is command. Destruction of enemy presence is priority. Target and engage Navy destroyer.
So a fun fact
Successful
about
outcome of this mission
capital
is
ships
essential.
using their beams on other capital ships. It doesn't actually do any damage at all. I think they did that to prevent any kind of randomness to interfere with the scripting. Or at least that's what I read on a particular webpage. Whatever the reason, they don't do anything. Anyway, we don't get to shoot at that particular destroyer right away. First we have to deal with these bombers. Well, that would be what we would do anyway, because having 3 enemy fighters, especially this kind, on our destroyer would take it down pretty darn fast. Now we get to hit that destroyer. Unfortunately, we can't kind of hang back and watch the battle between the two ships. We're a little too busy for that. And this is a good place to learn the trick of switching between the scatter gun and your standard lasers while one of them is overheated. That is a fairly large increase in damage per second, and it makes this mission and others like it go much smoother. Now, another enemy fighter or two is also launched. However, it's best to ignore that and just keep shooting at the ship here. We have our own fighters to deal with the enemy fighters, or at least slow them down. And there it is.
Command received.
You see?
Return to base. Jump gate open.
And that concludes this part of the campaign. We're not done with Draco yet. We still haven't gone through the missions that we get for succeeding with the comms craft. we'll see that next time, and then we'll finally move to the losing path and see where that goes. That takes a turn that I find fairly interesting as well. As you can tell, winning this mission sends you on a pretty decisive path. Like, it's hard to get more central to the colonial empire than Sol, but of course there's a lot of obstacles there. We won't be heading that way for quite a while, though. Oh, only one Navy fleet loss, but it seems like a fairly big one. Well, by comparison to the stuff we've been doing so far, much bigger things await. I tried looking for the medical craft in the craft database, but unfortunately could not find anything. So let's take a look at a couple of fighter craft. We've been kind of neglecting that stuff.
S9 Hydra. Originally developed as a small-scale scout craft known as Medusa, continual upgrades and modifications resulted in the fearsome assault craft now known as the Hydra. Of all the League's airborne military craft, it is the Hydra which is most frequently used to engage enemy units and render them harmless. It was initially employed in its current form during the famous plantation scandal of the Uprising's late phase, during which Navy craft attempted to wipe out vast tracts of fertile land. The Hydra successfully stopped the attacks and was subsequently used in a number of offensive activities before entering mass production in a number of classified locations.
So those modifications, usually when you have a ship that's designated a particular role, you do it modifications to make it better at that role, but I guess that didn't happen here. Research and development can be weird. Anyway, let's take a look at
T-29, Stormlord. When Lieutenant Rigster Johning unveiled the original Stormlord at a gathering on one of the hidden inner moons, he inadvertently signed his own death warrant. As project leader, he had approved the use of a self-reversing device in the ship's detonation guard. This flaw was revealed during the subsequent demonstration in which the ship exploded, killing 3 command staff. The lieutenant was executed just minutes later. The ship's system blueprint was later modified by engineers on Janus, resulting in the current heavily guarded model. With heavy shields and a reinforced hull, the Stormlord is used to disable and destroy enemy fleet craft. It has been used widely in active service, although, due to the events at its initial unveiling, it is still treated with suspicion by longer-serving members of the Colonial Navy.
Yeah, well, that's not too surprising. I know I showed a little bit of that history in my poll for what to play next, but now you know the full story. The more I listen to the database, the more I appreciate the work they put into it. Well, I believe that's it for now. Thanks very much for watching, and I will see you next time.